Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the September 5th edition of Carolina Week, old bandmates reunite after being apart for more than 55 years.
Reporter Jen Carpenter brings us a story about clashing cultures in a faraway land.
In sports, Carolina football began with a bang thanks to some new faces on the team.
Weathercaster Mallory Nichols will have your Carolina Week 4-day forecast.
All that and a night to remember. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Sarah Huffman.
And I'm Adam Rue. Thanks for joining us. Construction crews are working around the clock to repair part of the UNC Law School. Officials evacuated the school last Friday morning after a staff member noticed pieces of mortar falling from the ceiling. Engineers say the front of the building buckled because of the extreme summer heat. The incident displaced more than half of law school classes. Law School Communications Director Matt Marvin says the problem has led to some shuffling of class space.
Our academic affairs office has worked very hard and obviously spent a lot of time over the holiday weekend organizing this, working closely with the Provost's office and the UNC registrar. And that's all worked out remarkably well so far.
Tonight, classes are back in session, although some are meeting in different locations. According to the latest college rankings and U.S. News and World Report, Carolina fell 10 spots in faculty compensation. UNC ranked 40th last year in the faculty compensation rankings, 50th this year. But a portion of last year's tuition increases will go toward increasing faculty salaries. This is the second year in a row that UNC will give significant faculty raises. Officials say this year's rankings don't fully take into account the compensation increases from last fall.
Chapel Hill residents have to pay for just about everything downtown except for wireless internet. The town will activate 6 Wi-Fi hotspots up and down Franklin Street on Friday. Anyone with an active wireless card will be able to log onto the internet for free. The spots nearest to campus are the post office, town parking lot number 5, and the IFC shelter on Rosemary. For anyone looking to get away from campus, there are also hot spots farther down Franklin, all the way to the restaurant 411 West. Carolina fans now have another way to get to games. Chapel Hill Transit added a new route to its Tar Heel Express program that runs for home football games. The route picks up at park and ride lots along Martin Luther King Boulevard. Stops include Franklin Street and South Road for easy access to stores and the stadium. Town leaders hope the new route will bring more people to Franklin Street during game days. The bus starts running 3 hours before a game and continues to run 3 hours afterward.
In countries around the world, ethnic prejudice and violence are all too common. After returning from a summer documentary experience funded by the university, reporter Jen Carpenter shows us how Macedonia is integrating in hopes of peace.
Welcome to Macedonia. Population, just 2 million. 1 out of every 4 is an ethnic Albanian, and Albanians have no formal representation in government. That's 250,000 people with no voice. But Macedonia is trying to ease this tension, taking its first steps towards peaceful coexistence. Like this primary school, the only one in the country that formally encourages ethnic groups to mix. This is the only school in Skopje where all of the races are integrated. That means some of these kids speak up to 5 different languages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But integrating Albanians into Macedonian life is dangerous, proven violent in the past. Is the next generation ready to desegregate? Here at the Balkan Folk Festival, where no Albanian groups were present, the children tell no lies.
Discrimination between the Albanian and Macedonian, the Gypsy and Macedonian, lots of problems.
Other people who are older, they make our problems.
Racial intolerance is infiltrating the next generation of Balkan leaders, but some groups are making change for the better. Take, for example, Mjaft, an Albanian debate team, bringing Macedonians and Albanians together to peacefully talk politics.
They argue and debate unlike the kind of debates that we see on Albanian TV from our politicians, where what they're doing is in physical violence against one another. So we're trying to show students that there is a different type of debate. You only deal with the issue.
It's the youth who are finding acceptance and cooperation, facing historical prejudice going back thousands of years, political odds, and cruel stigmas.
We can solve this because we are young and we can live. We are, in our hands is our future. Me and my generation, I promise that we will do many changes.
More and more youth want to be active and want to change things. So if you do get together with the right people, you ask for this change, change will happen.
That challenge is in the hands of very young but very determined agents of change. In Skopje, Macedonia, I'm Jennifer Carpenter, Carolina Week.
Desegregation is one of 7 improvement programs set out by the European Union. Until Macedonia establishes peace between its citizens, it will remain a candidate country not yet admitted to the Union.
Sororities on campus are gearing up for tonight's final round of Panhellenic recruitment. More than 600 potential new members visited all 10 sororities last week, which means a lot more traffic inside the houses. Preparation for the rounds began a week before classes started, and it all ends tomorrow with bid day. Chi Omega President Emily May says the increase in potential new members has made it more difficult to prepare for each round.
We have over 600 potential new members going through, which makes it a little bit more demanding for the girls in sororities. I know that this year I've talked to an average of 4 girls around, which normally it's usually 3, maybe 2, so it's really made a big difference.
This year marks the highest participation rate in recruitment since 1998.
While most of those pledges are new to UNC, some students have been around for a while and they're looking to make plans for their senior year. Senior class representatives will be selling t-shirts in the pit all this week to raise money for upcoming service projects, bar nights, and senior events. Senior class president Ashley Shores says the shirts promote class unity. She hopes they'll draw attention to upcoming class fundraisers.
We also have a lot of events coming up, like next week we're having a bar night at East End where we encourage people to wear their senior shirts. And then we're putting on a Habitat benefit concert on October 2nd, and we're going to ask seniors to wear their shirts to show their support for the Habitat House.
Shores encourages all seniors to get involved and wants the class of 2008 to have a memorable and meaningful last year at Carolina.
Homelessness. It's a word we use a lot, but it's a condition most of us can't even begin to understand. Reporter Aaron Franklin brings us the challenges homeless people face in Chapel Hill every day.
Now that I lost everything to you, say you want to start something. I am one of those people who lost my butt to the internet.
Been homeless about 8 years.
Ran out of my retirement money and lost my house, lost my cars, lost everything I worked 17 years for.
I wound up losing my kids in Asheville, North Carolina when they was 5 and 3. I kind of like gave up.
Now I'm living out here.
I may be homeless, but I'm not a piece of nothing.
Doing okay. I'm not getting rich, but at least I'm surviving.
What y'all call junk is the only thing I own.
That's right.
But I'm making it.
It's a lot more difficult than most people think.
I just sort of sit here and sort of idle my day away, playing my guitar, singing a few songs.
Once you get socially kicked to the friggin' curb, you are a homeless piece of trash. You are useless to society.
Some of the people have a long road to hoe out here. If the people stop giving.
Well, the reason I survive is because I do my darndest to make the best of the bad situation for her because I love her.
It's hard to get by, just upon a smile. Hopefully the people will see what I'm trying to accomplish out here and maybe help me out.
We'll make it right.
We'll make it work. One way or the other.
Have so far.
We're a team.
We'll continue our look at homelessness this Saturday morning on our radio program, Carolina Connection. The program airs this Saturday at 7:30 on WCHL AM 1360.
It's always nice to reunite with friends.
But it's even more special if you haven't seen them for more than half a century. Coming up, we'll share with you a joyous homecoming that has its place in history.
Hear that? How could I not? They can't be serious. This is their third party this week, and I have a test tomorrow.
Yeah, and they blocked me in. Again!
Let's party!
Anything left in here? I bet they're gonna leave their garbage out again. They do this every time when they have friends over.
It's important to be considerate of others who live close to you. You wouldn't want neighbors like these. Make sure to control your garbage, obey Chapel Hill noise ordinances, park only in your driveway or other designated areas, obey all alcohol laws, and remember, we're all living in this community together, so be a good neighbor.
Chapel Hill loves to welcome the arts, and with a reunited Navy band coming to town, residents get to enjoy history and music. Reporter Sierra Moore tells us how a group of Black military musicians have banded together.
The 44 members of the first all-Black B-1 Navy Band reported to Chapel Hill in July of 1942. 65 years later, the band is reuniting, and the community of Chapel Hill is welcoming them.
It's very, very late, but it is never too late. And you are indeed welcome, and not only welcome, but honored.
Band member Huey Lawrence says it was no honor to be a Black man in Chapel Hill in the 1940s.
It feels as though it was yesterday. I was sitting here reminiscing. They threw things, as they call us, terrible names, but we just kept on marching.
And the result is respect of a community that remembers how these men paved the way for other African Americans.
This is one of the streets the band paraded down over 6 decades ago. The scenery has changed, but the memories are still the same.
Those memories are passed on to children, and Jeffrey Lawrence admires his father's continued dedication to music.
He just does it all. I'm really proud of him. That's my hero.
Members of the all-Black band are heroes to many people, Black or white, who lived in Chapel Hill during World War II. In Chapel Hill, I'm Sierra Moore, Carolina Week.
Mayor Kevin Foy gave the band a key to the city on Saturday. The band will also host future reunions here in Chapel Hill.
Just in case you weren't at the football game this past Saturday, the student section has moved. The CAA made plans last spring to move the student section from the side of Kenan Stadium to the end zone. The plans went into effect during the season's first game against James Madison University. The CAA handed out 5,000 free t-shirts and gave Ramses a giant flag to mark the section's debut. Carolina Fever Chair Kellen White is the organizer of the Tar Pit, and he has high hopes for future fans.
I want the students to take pride in it. I want the students to come early. I want it to be like the Risers are for basketball. I want it to be like I have to come to the game early or I'm not going to be in the Tar Pit.
Look for more information on the Tar Pit throughout the football season across campus and, of course, here on Carolina Week.
Change at Lenoir Dining Hall means more options for students, but some of those changes might make it harder to grab a quick bite. The Main Street area now features the Carolina Kitchen. This restaurant offers a wide variety of food, including pizza. Carolina Dining Services decided to close the popular takeout option out of here. Students can still get takeout from upstairs, but employee Rena Delaney says waiting in line makes it hard to get in and out quickly.
Trying to get upstairs to get their food, they are late for class or whatever they have to do. So I think it's very unfair, and they should bring out of here back.
There are more changes in the works for Main Street Lenoir, with plans for the Pita Pit to open in the old Outta Here location.
Restaurants are signing up for a new online service that attracts diners with discounts. Restaurant.com sells gift certificates to participating restaurants at a reduced price. One local restaurant is cashing in. The Weather Vane is located in University Mall and uses Restaurant.com to sell certificates at about 1/3 of their value. Executive Chef Patrick Cowden says the benefit for him comes after the meal.
What's really invaluable is feedback.
from the guests. A lot of times we don't get comments right when people are here and they dine.
Restaurant goers can fill out an online satisfaction form after they use their certificates.
And we're joined now by weathercaster Mallory Nichols.
Hey. Well, it doesn't seem like there's going to be any break in the drought. The weather is still hot. It feels like July, but it's already September.
It is very hot outside still, but it was very beautiful and sunny today. These people are taking advantage of that by playing and studying outside. But will there be a damper on the fun with the chance of storms this weekend? I'll have your forecast coming up after the break.
I'm celebrating 32 years of recovery.
I'm celebrating 9 years of recovery.
Estoy celebrando 22 años de recuperación.
I'm celebrating 5 years of recovery.
When you're ready for recovery, contact the Alcohol and Drug Council of North Carolina at 1-800-688-4232.
I'm doing it right now.
I do it all over town. I do it every day.
We do it in a group.
I did it after dinner.
You don't have to go to the gym to live a healthier life. Add more fruits and vegetables to your diet. Park further away and walk. Walk your dog. Walk with friends. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. They're doing it. And you can too. Start doing it today.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weather forecaster Mallory Nichols. At least the classrooms are staying cool today because it's hot outside right now, and it's going to continue to be hot as we continue to have that hot weather on into the weekend. We don't have much rain as of right now, but we'll keep an eye on that. We do have a bit of a tropical situation sitting off the eastern coast that may affect us in the weekend, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But as of right now in the forecast, we don't have any rain scheduled so far. If we take a look at the satellite and radar, you'll see out over the east, out towards the east of Texas, we do have a little bit of a low pressure system that will start to push east towards us, but it won't affect us for the weekend. It may affect, or it probably will affect us at the beginning part of next week. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. That may be able to help us with a little bit of the drought situation as well. And then also you see down off into Mexico, we do have a bit of that remaining Henriette as well. If we take a closer look at the regional satellite, you'll see right now we don't have anything happening over us. It's just pretty much hot out there with no clouds sitting over us. If we go out towards the west, you see in the mountains they do have a little bit of clouds from that low pressure system out to the west or out to the east of Texas. So those may shift towards us over the next couple of days. We'll keep an eye on that. If we go to this current satellite, or current surface map, you'll see that rain that is affecting east of Texas and the lower states. That's going to start to push east, as I have mentioned. And then you do see down in Mexico, there is a bit of the leftover Hurricane Henriette out down there as well. We do have a low pressure system sitting up north that's going to start to push east, but that shouldn't have any effect on us as well into the weekend. If we go to Thursday's surface map, you'll see Henriette's starting to move up a little more into the United States, which will just bring rain because now it's just a tropical depression, a little bit of a low pressure system there. That Texas storm is starting to push east towards us. You see it's getting a little bit closer to us. And then if we go to Friday, you'll see it sits a little bit closer to us as well. So we'll see a little bit of that rain into the beginning parts of next week. If we go to the travel forecast, you'll see the mountain forecast. We have a little bit of cloudiness on Saturday and on Sunday as well. Just partly sunny on Sunday, and then the highs will be in the mid 84s, so they're seeing a little cooler temperature than we are now, and then the lows down into the lower 60s. On the beach forecast, you'll see that they are having a little bit worse of a time for the weekend. You may not want to go there. There's a chance of storms for Saturday and Sunday, and then mid 80s for the high temperature there, and the lower 70s for the low temperature. If you take a look at the tropical update, you'll see, or the 4-day forecast, you see Thursday and Friday is pretty much the same with sunny weather, and then Saturday and Sunday we do have a chance of rain. Those temperatures and the high temperatures are going to remain pretty hot. Low temperatures getting down into the 60s, so a little bit of break in the evening. Go to the tropical forecast, you'll see We do have a little bit of a development off the coast that may affect us, so hopefully that'll bring us rain, but not much more than that into the weekend. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Mallory.
Thanks, Mallory.
Many fans came early to the football game on Saturday to join in the pre-game celebration. Ramses led the way with a walk through Tar Heel Town before the season opener. Fans lined up to cheer on the players and coaches in their parade to the stadium. But it's not just the team everyone was excited to see. Children and adults stayed after the parade hoping to get their picture taken with Ramses. And we're joined now by sportscaster Sarah Moore.
Sarah, that was one heck of a way to start off the fall football season with that huge victory on, what was it, Saturday night over at Kenan Stadium.
Definitely, I was there and I had a blast. Coming up in sports, the football team's first test flight is in the books and the landing went smoothly. We'll show you how some of the team's freshman players performed under pressure. Should I do the turn better?
Hey, Mark, where are you going with your piggy bank? I'm going to give my allowance to the Interfaith Council. Why? Mom says they help people, and they need our help, too.
The Interfaith Council has been helping families for over 30 years through family services and community house. Donations come from individuals, and every donation counts.
I want to help, too.
Call the Interfaith Council at 929-6380.
Mother taught me. She's
averaging 18%. Balance the budget. Increasing clouds for...
UNC TV. Your remote stops here.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Sarah Moore. The reason our male ratings have skyrocketed. While most freshmen worry about finding their classes, some new members of the football squad have to find their place on the team. So far, no worries. They're playing a lot. Starting your freshman year at a school like UNC is a transition in itself. Starting your freshman year as a football player at UNC has plenty of added challenges.
They're certainly further along than any freshman class from that standpoint of knowing kind of what to expect, but by the same token, you know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff they don't know.
Freshman athletes have a lot to learn about their sport and their campus. They often look to older teammates for guidance in both realms.
If you got a good relationship with somebody off the field, they won't listen to you on the field. So it'd be easier to coach them up and try to get them to where they want to be.
The close relationships the upperclassmen have formed with the freshmen seemed to pay off in Saturday's game when the Tar Heels plowed through James Madison 37-7.
You know, these kids have got a lot of pride. They've got something that they'd like to prove. That Carolina can play football.
And that's exactly what they did. Freshmen Greg Little and Marvin Austin both saw quality playing time in the first game.
Just bringing them along as friends as well as teammates, that's going to help them come along a lot faster. Marvin Austin's always at my house, eating up all my food.
Many returning players say it's this close relationship off the field that helps them play better as a team on the field. In a day when coaches ask their athletes to be bigger, stronger, and faster than their opponents, it's nice to have peers willing to make the same sacrifices. The women's soccer team is in unfamiliar territory, having lost 1-0 in the first game of the season versus South Carolina. The Gamecocks scored early, and the Tar Heels were never able to put one of their many shots into the net. In front of a crowd of more than 3,000 fans, the Tar Heels outshot the Gamecocks 12-3. The Tar Heels also took 13 more corner kicks than the Gamecocks. Coach Anson Dorrance says that there's much to learn from this game.
Well, our speed of play in the first half was just too slow. We were playing with the arrogance of someone who had already won the game, and I don't think that serves us well.
The Carolina field hockey team is off to a great start, undefeated against some quality competition. The team beat number 2 ranked Wake Forest on Friday evening and James Madison on Sunday afternoon. Elizabeth Drazdowski and Larry Beans scored against Wake Forest. During the JMU matchup, Drozdowski and Rachel Dawson helped UNC to victory with 1 goal each. The number 3 ranked Tar Heels have set high goals for the 2007 season. Coach Karen Shelton says the key to winning the ACC and the NCAA championships is patience and persistence.
We're going to be working on every phase of the game to get better. I do think we have a very good team, and we're going to be one of those fighting for a championship at the end.
The cross-country teams are off and running following a strong showing at the UNC Challenge Saturday morning. The women's team ran away with the victory after 6 UNC runners placed in the top 10. Addie Bracey led the women. She finished first in the 5K run with a time of 18 minutes and 30 seconds. The men's team claimed second place, falling to a High Point team that placed 4 of the top 5 runners. Coach Mike Whittlesey says overall he was pleased with the team's first performances of the season.
Just need to wake up a little bit, and that's what the first meet's all about, is just reminding our bodies and our hearts what racing really is all about.
The next meet will be in Boone, where the men and women will run in the Mountaineer Open on September 14th.
And yeah, it was a great weekend for sports, wasn't it?
It really was. I'm really excited about the rest of all of the seasons.
One thing that is going to be interesting, though, is to watch the women's soccer team and see sort of how they develop and react to this loss against South Carolina. They're not used to losing this early in the season, are they?
They're not, but hopefully they can have a major comeback.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sarah.
It's not every day you get to meet a Renaissance man.
But coming up, we'll show you one who jumps, juggles, and plays with fire.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
$50 invested in a mutual fund 20 years ago returned $452. $50 in the United Negro College Fund returned an award-winning actor. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
When you think of knights, most people think of the Middle Ages.
But reporter Brendan Anderson shows us there might be a few knights still showing off their tricks at local Renaissance fairs.
Cameron Tomley isn't your average college graduate.
I actually was just very bored in college, and in between classes that were kind of just dull, I would practice this stuff. And I taught myself how to do all these things. And when I graduated, I found I could do a lot better for myself being an acrobat than being a teacher.
Tomley formed a group called Barely Balanced, a traveling act featuring fire breathing, juggling, and acrobatics. He says it's all about having a good time.
We're best friends, so we just each week get together, climb all over each other, beat each other up, throw sharp objects at each other's faces. It's a fun life.
Tomley and his 2 partners tour the country, entertaining people of all ages. Barely Balanced performs at Renaissance fairs, circuses, and special events, wowing crowds with stunts like this one. Tomley says he loves the crowd's reaction.
But the people, as you've seen, are just so enthusiastic. Crazy fun people. The fact that they would quiet down to hear me and then roar when it's time to roar,
So he and his group stay busy performing their amazing show. In Chapel Hill, I'm Brendan Anderson, Carolina Week.
That looks so incredibly difficult.
And what's really difficult about it is the juggling, the fire, and all that looks very scary.
You have to have a lot of concentration.
Absolutely.
Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thank you so much for watching. Good night.